Having received the diagnosis of the seven churches, the precise mapping of blockages in your spiritual energy system, the narrative does not proceed immediately to your healing. It first ascends to show you the destination. Before the storm, you are shown the eye. Before the surgery, you are shown the perfect health that is your birthright. This is the vision of chapter 4, a glimpse of the consciousness you are becoming. John is told, "Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this." This is not a physical ascent, but a shift in perspective. You are invited to come up to the vantage point of the witness, the silent awareness behind your thoughts, to perceive the coming apocalypse not as a victim, but as the conscious space in which it unfolds. What you see from this perspective is not a location, but a state of being. The throne, the central immutable fact of existence, pure, sovereign consciousness itself. It is not a chair for a person, but the source point from which all awareness emanates. He who sat upon it is formless, described only as having the appearance of jasper, clarity, and carnelian vitality, surrounded by an emerald healing rainbow. This is consciousness in its triple nature, clear, alive, and restorative. The sea of glass like crystal. Before the throne, there was, as it were, a sea of glass like crystal. This is the hallmark of the awakened mind. Perfect stillness and transparency. A mind so utterly quiet and free from the ripples of desire, fear, and opinion that it reflects reality without distortion. It is a sea, vast and profound, but like crystal, completely still and clear. This is the silence in heaven that follows the seventh seal, shown here at the beginning as the foundational state toward which all the turmoil is moving. This is the mind of Samadhi. The 24 elders on 24 thrones. Surrounding the central throne are 24 subsidiary thrones with 24 elders in white robes and golden crowns. This dense symbolism points to a complete integration within your own being. 24 equals 12 times 2. 12 is the number of cosmic order and governance. 12 tribes, 12 apostles, 12 zodiac signs. This represents the complete mastery and harmonious governance of all dualities within you. The 12 pairs of cranial nerves, the 24 hours of the day, mastery of time, cycles, the full spectrum of archetypal energies, all are now elders, meaning wise, mature, and seated in authority, on thrones, dressed in purity, white robes, and crowned with enlightenment, golden crowns. They cast their crowns before the central throne, signifying that all these faculties now serve the one, central consciousness, not the ego. The four living creatures. These are the four fundamental aspects of your incarnate nature, the fixed signs of your being, now in perfect, harmonious service around the throne of awareness. The lion, Leo, your fiery will, courage, and royal heart. Untamed will becomes conscious sovereignty. The ox, Taurus, your earthly strength, stability, and patient endurance. Animal strength becomes grounded, serene power. The face of a man, Aquarius, your airy intellect, reason, and humanitarian spirit. The thinking mind becomes the vehicle for cosmic awareness. The flying eagle, Scorpio, your watery depth, intuition, and transformative spirit. Emotional and psychic depth becomes visionary perception. Now, some may wonder, what does a flying eagle have to do with Scorpio? In esoteric symbolism, Scorpio represents a spectrum of transformation. Its most familiar form is the scorpion, an image of raw, instinctual energy. This is emotional depth in its unrefined state. Intense, secretive, driven by survival, passion, and the shadow aspects of the psyche. As this same energy awakens, Scorpio is sometimes symbolized as a serpent, the rising Kundalini force. Here, the power that once acted unconsciously becomes transformative, shedding old identities, gaining hidden wisdom, and beginning the process of rebirth. At its highest expression, Scorpio becomes the eagle. The eagle represents this same intense energy fully transmuted. No longer trapped in the emotional underworld, it rises above it. The eagle sees with clarity and distance, yet strikes with absolute precision. What was once obsession becomes intuition. What was once secrecy becomes sacred insight. The sting of destruction becomes the ability to pierce illusion. This is why Revelation's flying eagle is not a predator, but a sanctified creature. In Revelation 4, the four living beings around the throne represent perfected aspects of nature, not base instincts, but their redeemed forms. The flying eagle symbolizes the soul's deepest emotional and psychic power after it has been purified through spiritual transformation. It is Scorpio redeemed, no longer bound to fear or darkness, but serving higher consciousness with vision, courage, and truth. In other words, the eagle proves that humanity's most intense and potentially destructive energies are not meant to be erased, but refined. What once crawled in the shadows can learn to fly. These creatures are full of eyes in front and behind. They possess complete awareness, 360-degree perception. They never cease saying, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty." This is the ceaseless mantra of the integrated self. Every faculty constantly acknowledges the sacredness, holiness of the one life, the Lord God Almighty, flowing through it. Your will, your strength, your mind, and your spirit are in perpetual awestruck service to the consciousness that animates them. This vision is your North Star. It is the promise. The chaotic process you are about to enter has a destination of unimaginable peace, order, and luminous wholeness. The heaven of chapter 4 is the consciousness you will inhabit when the earth of your current psyche has been fully transformed. The vision then introduces the catalyst. In the right hand of the one on the throne is a scroll, sealed with 7 seals. The scroll. This is your soul's original divine blueprint. It contains the complete record of your true potential and the exact non-negotiable process required to actualize it. It is the fruit of life pattern, the divine DNA, the full architectural plan for the new Jerusalem, that is you. It is written on the inside and on the back, meaning its wisdom is complete, covering both the inner spiritual reality and the outer manifest life. The 7 seals. These are not locks keeping you out. They are protective seals keeping the blueprint contained until the vessel is ready. They represent the 7 primary blockages or concentrations of egoic energy corresponding to the 7 chakras. To open the scroll is to activate the blueprint, which will systematically dissolve these blockages. It is the go signal for the apocalypse. A mighty angel proclaims, "Who is worthy to open the scroll and break its seals?" The answer is devastating. No one in heaven or on earth or under the earth was able to open the scroll or to look into it. No one in heaven, your higher mind, on earth, your ego, or under the earth, your subconscious, can access this. The ego cannot engineer its own dissolution. The intellect cannot comprehend the process. You cannot think, will, or analyze your way into this transformation. This causes John, the seeker's consciousness, to weep bitterly, for it seems the path to wholeness is inaccessible. Then the solution is revealed. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has conquered, so that he can open the scroll and its 7 seals. John looks, and what does he see? A lamb standing, as though it had been slain. This is the supreme mystery and the key to everything. The lion is the lamb. The conquering power, lion, is gentle, surrendered sacrifice, lamb. The force that opens the blueprint is not aggressive will, but conscious, willing surrender. Standing as though it had been slain. This is your own Christ consciousness, your higher self, which has already undergone the death of the ego. It is not the ego that breaks the seals. It is the part of you that exists on the other side of the ego's death. It is the alchemical child born from the sacred intermarriage, the I am presence that observes without identifying. It has 7 horns and 7 eyes. The 7 horns are the perfected, active power of your fully awakened chakra system. The 7 eyes are the omniscient, intuitive awareness sent throughout the earth, the ability to see truth from every center. This is the integrated being described in the 7 churches' rewards, now presented as the active agent of transformation. The Lamb takes the scroll. This is the single most important act in the entire inner drama. It is the moment of full conscious consent. It is your deepest being, beyond the weeping ego, saying yes to the entire process, to the breaking, the tribulation, the death, and the rebirth. It is the point of no return. When the Lamb takes the scroll, the 24 elders and the 4 living creatures fall down in worship, singing a new song. Worthy are you to take the scroll and to open its seals, for you were slain, and by your blood you ransomed people for God from every tribe and language and people and nation, and you have made them a kingdom and priests to our God, and they shall reign on the earth. This new song is the anthem of the realized self. You were ransomed, not by an external blood sacrifice, but by the slaying of your own separate self-sense, the Lamb. This act redeems all the fragmented aspects of your being, every tribe and language, your various sub-personalities, drives, and talents, and unifies them into a single sovereign entity, a kingdom and priests. You become both the ruler, the kingdom, and the conduit for the divine, the priests. And this kingdom shall reign on the earth. This sovereignty is to be fully embodied here and now. The initiation is complete. The diagnosis has been given, chapters 1 to 3. The vision of wholeness has been granted, chapter 4. The consent has been sealed, chapter 5. At this point, a practical question arises. If the slain and risen Lamb consciousness must open the scroll to begin the process, why do so many people experience intense spiritual energy awakenings, Kundalini surges, visions, emotional upheavals, long before they feel anything like a stable, Christ-like awareness? The answer is vital for applying this map to real human experience. It lies in distinguishing between an energy event and a consciousness shift. The Lamb is not the final state of enlightenment. It is not the fully built New Jerusalem. It is, more precisely, the key. And that key is forged from a specific material, surrendered, witnessing awareness. Slain means you have consciously or desperately identified with the part of you that is willing for the ego to die. It is the profound yes from the depths of your being, even if the surface ego is terrified. It is the prayer of Gethsemane, not my will, but thine be done. Standing means you have accessed, however briefly, the witness, the part of you that can observe inner chaos without being wholly consumed by it. You do not need to be perfect to hold this key. You need a moment of sincere surrender and the capacity for observation. Now, consider the common, often traumatic Kundalini awakening. This is frequently the seals being broken without the conscious consent of the Lamb. It can be triggered by trauma, extreme practices, or grace that bypasses the ego's readiness. The energy is moving, but the egoic consciousness is still on the throne, trying to control and interpret a divine process it cannot comprehend. This is like the scroll being blasted open by an explosion. The information, the transformative energy, is released, but chaotically, causing what feels like a spiritual emergency. In this common scenario, the intense suffering of the process itself forges the Lamb consciousness after the fact. The ego, in its agony and exhaustion, eventually cries, I give up, I cannot do this. That cry is the birth of the Lamb, the surrender that should have preceded the storm. The process then becomes a painful feedback loop, energy activation, egoic suffering, exhausted surrender, partial integration, deeper energy activation. The revelation map is not describing the chaotic order in which this often occurs in life. It is providing the conscious, ideal template to minimize suffering and maximize understanding. First, establish the witness and offer consent, chapters 4 to 5. Then, allow the energy to execute the blueprint, chapter 6 onward. If you find yourself already in the storm, know this: your suffering is creating the surrendered lamb within you. Your task is to consciously recognize that surrendering witness amid the chaos and to align with it. Say to the storm, "Do what you must, I am not the commander here." That alignment is you in the midst of the tempest, reaching forward to take the scroll. With this understanding that the Lamb is a quality of surrendered awareness, not a final achievement, we now watch as the first seal is broken. The process, whether entered into consciously or encountered through life's upheavals, is now underway. There is no turning back. Now, the first seal breaks. The inner apocalypse has begun. There is no stopping it. The blueprint is activated, and the energy of your own divine potential, intelligent, ruthless, and perfect, will now move through you to execute its plan.